Hey YouTube, SD65 with my review for episode 30. Wait. Hey YouTube, SD65 with my review for episode 30 of Deadliest Warrior Pancho Villa versus Crazy Horse. Now, all I can say about this match, it was an amazing match and I was quite pleased by the results. Anyways, I mean, the way they tested the weapons was amazing. I mean, they tested it on horseback like I hoped they would. They kind of surprised me with the pistol testing, but you know, it's what they do. But anyways, so let's begin with the first test, which was the long range test. Now, it was the Winchester for Pancho Villa versus the Henry repeater for Crazy Horse. Now, they did a test on horseback like I thought they would, and I was kind of pleased to see that. I mean, I don't know if you were, but I was. And yeah, it was amazing to see, and I was glad. I mean, on the horseback, I think they took out, I think it was maybe 2 kills for each and 2 wounded, and then it was injuries. Shit. So let's begin with the first test, which was the long range test. Now, I was quite amused to see them on horseback. I think if they took out two targets and injured 2 targets. And they kind of did the same on the others with all the moving targets. So let's get started with the first test, which is the long range, which is the Winchester repeater rifle versus the Henry repeater rifle. Now, I was quite happy to see them on horseback because that is how they use the weapons. But yeah, anyway, they used that on there and they both kind of did the same. They both took out 2 targets and both gave 2 targets injuries. And it was surprising to see how close they were. But in the end, they gave it to how well the weapon works. For the Henry, the chamber is on the barrel itself. And if you get mud and dirt into that, it's gonna jam, and you can't fix that. It's just not right. And if for the littler Winchester, it has a quick motion. You can do it with your pinky. I mean, as he's shown on the show, yeah, he can do it with his pinky. It was just faster to click that and fire. I mean, anybody can do that. Click, fire. It's done. Next, they had mid-range weapons, which was the 1873 Colt versus the Colt Bisley. Now, they're both in the same company, which I was surprised. And they're both 6-shooters. But the 1873 had a longer barrel than the Bisley. But you also gotta remember that Pancho had arthritis, and so the Bisley's easier to pull back hammer and bigger trigger space gives him a better advantage and easier time to shoot. But with the Colt, it causes more damage, and as you saw in the gel, the 1873's bullet tumbled, but the Bisley's bullet did not tumble, it just went straight through. But you also got to remember that what bullet the Bisley fires is the same bullet that the Winchester fires. So they gave the edge to the Colt because of its better damage and better accuracy. And then they had short-range weapons, which was the War Club versus the Bowl Knife. And again, we see the War Club break. And you're also going to remember that the War Club is a blunt object, opposed to Villa's bolo knife, which is a sharp object. Now, for the test for the bolo knife, what it looked like to me is that he only managed to cut off his head. It looked like all the slashes that he did to the lower body did absolutely nothing. I mean, it looked like he just gave him light hacks, like right up there. Yeah. And then they had X factors, which were logistics, disease, and so on and so forth. Logistics, they rated 54. Oh my god. I complete. And then we had the short range weapons. Which is the War Club versus the bolo knife. Now, we see the War Club break. I mean, to me, it looked different this time. It looked more like a hammer than what we saw in the first episode of the first season. We just gotta remember that the bolo knife is a knife, but it was a tool originally, and a lot of the weapons we've seen on the show were actually tools before they were weapons. So, yeah, they gave the edge to the bolo knife, and I completely agree with that. It's just right. So that's what I think about that episode. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Make sure you thumbs up if you agreed with the episode, thumbs down if you don't. I was surprised by the result. Yeah, that pretty much about does it for me, so catch you later.